And we are on the air on Sazilla.
Hi, Doug. Welcome to Thursday. It is the last Thursday.
Yes.
It's the 26th, 27th.
27th.
Last Thursday of February. So we're creeping into spring.
Yeah, really quickly. And we are going to get into something that's actually happening tomorrow.
What's happening tomorrow, the last day of February?
Well, tomorrow is a big Boycotts.
Oh, that's right. That's a big day for a lot. Taking February 28th tomorrow and telling corporate America that we're not going to support you if you support racist and sexist and awful
What, fascists?
fascist fascist regimes.
It's flashing a little bit at the people's power.
They have some at this stage.
And it's one of those bigger ones because it's the People's Union, No Kings. There are a couple of different organizations I've seen that are saying, hey, don't shop at Amazon or Walmart or Best Buy. Don't spend money on fast food or gas.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Coca-Cola's hit a number of the boycott lists.
Yeah. Now here's the question: isn't this just someone's just there's going to be a pushback saying, "Oh, this is virtuous and blah blah blah. This isn't for real."
Well, it's one of those. It's kind of a warning shot. Is the best way to describe it, because
Okay.
like the most famous boycotts are the Montgomery bus boycotts of the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
That highlighted the need for civil rights.
Right.
I mean, those were massive, and those were long. Oh well, hey, the weather's bad. We're going to take a bus, or it was
No, they stood their ground, which to this day I'm grateful for, because that was very impressive.
Mm-hmm. And some of the organizations for the February 28th ones are saying, hey, you know what? If you have to shop local small businesses.
Yeah, that's perfectly reasonable. And you should be shopping small businesses anyway.
That's kind of my point. Is the whole thing is that's before, and usually it's you should shop small business. Well, if you were shopping small businesses before, the large businesses wouldn't have money.
They wouldn't have the power.
They wouldn't have the power to donate to put some of these folks in place.
Yeah, 100% for that.
So, yeah, this is kind of one of those definitely trust, because that empowers them.
Mm-hmm.
Empowers them to make changes, takes away those big dollars from being driven into people who are lobbying for horrible things.
Exactly.
And the thing is, small businesses, they create your town's character.
They do. They absolutely do. We had one of our businesses locally have a collapse yesterday.
It was Tuesday.
At one of our movie theaters. It's Sundays Theaters is a very, very small local chain. They have us and I want to say Mike and
they got about
Leavenworth.
4 or 5.
Yeah, just a small regional chain, and the supporting the Liberty Theater is supporting a small business, and when their ceiling collapses, it's nice to know that they've got the support of the locals.
And it's to be fair, that's that theater's been around since like the 20s,
possibly earlier than that.
Yeah, it was one of the earlier ones. It's one of the last last of the great ones that are in our town.
Yeah, it was a show palace officially on the side of the building. I don't know if you know.
So having that business come back is important, and hopefully they'll revitalize it a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good opportunity to maybe spruce a couple of things up that they needed to spruce up.
So you have that versus their modern multiplex,
the AMC
out at the
big mall,
at the big mall, and it's like that hides everything.
Yeah.
They're a little, they're on the smaller, they have more of them, so
Yeah.
more variety. It's a different feel.
It is.
It's got less. It's got that more corporate feel and less. We encountered a lot of the kind of the corporate talk. Yep.
Local schools day. Eastmont High School.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were there with I don't know, gosh,
about 90 businesses.
Yeah, 90 did.
Businesses and organizations.
Businesses and organizations, kind of giving the kids at high school idea what's out there in the job market. You know, and we were there to represent small business and insurance. I think we're the only insurance agency.
Yeah, we were the only. I think there might have been a realtor.
Yeah, the table next was a realtor.
Okay.
Yeah, Laura Mounter.
Okay.
Hi, Laura.
Yeah. Did you think you could just talk to?
I didn't get a chance to talk to anybody but the folks across the YMCA. We were shouting across. It was just busy.
Yeah, and I got to talk to the economic district behind us.
Oh, yay!
Briefly, that was about. You had to pull me back.
I had to interrupt you
because they were kind of surprised at how busy our table was.
Really?
Yeah, because they had the traditional candy bowl to attract kids, and they were having problems with engagement.
Okay.
And they were like, "You are just hopping at your table." And mind you,
I thought all the tables were like that.
No.
Oh.
Weren't.
Oh.
Gosh. This was our third time, and Susie and I have done countless events at this point.
Oh yeah. For years. For years.
This time we did not have a candy bowl.
Mm-mm. We honestly forgot.
Yeah, we as I jokingly refer to it, we had to use the sweetness of our personality. and I mean, yeah, we had like, this is stuff that no high schooler would be like, "Oh, that's exciting."
Well, okay, they like the back scratcher.
Okay, we made it exciting.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if we would have sat there with just the stuff laid out on the table, they would not have engaged.
No, probably not.
And it wasn't until we started, some of those back scratchers started going, or we started waving them around.
Well, and once I started getting into kids' hands and being, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? That was happening.
That was happening. There was a little bit of jonesing.
Uh-huh.
And this is natural sales things that small businesses rely on. It's our bread and butter on fostering that ability. And that was some of the things, because as soon as the person from the economic district started talking, and I just freaking started pitching.
You naturally pitch. You're a natural pitcher.
Because they have this wonderful opportunity where they're setting up micro businesses. They're already set up with a single garage bay door, so they can set up, like a small garage or a CNC machine, because they got the power. Because these are the old pods that were reclaimed from a failed Bitcoin mining operation.
Yes, and they've got genuine infrastructure.
Yeah, they got hard infrastructure to run some heavy equipment.
Yeah, and they're fostering small businesses, small businesses in these zones.
Yeah,
and they just they're looking for folks to jump in
and make a go of it. And I just I knew exactly what they're doing, exactly what they did, because they she was aware of the Supernova project. I had one person was working with a former graduate of that program,
Mm-hmm.
and it really highlighted the importance of her organization bringing in small business,
Mm-hmm.
able to project what they're doing as an example.
There you go.
And that's the difference of, hey, I've got this program, but that's really a wonderful program, but I don't have someone there pitching it.
Yeah, and it's not really well known.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that every small owner, every small business owner, or every small business entrepreneur who is trying to create a candle business or a clothing business, this is something they should be aware of, because this is a space that they can use. It's not their own personal garage. It's affordable.
Or even pressing T-shirts.
Well, exactly.
There are the hundreds of small businesses that are just ready to rock and roll.
And they're getting in there.
Yeah, about 1 in 4 homes in America have a small business of some sort.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of failure of the old structure.
Yeah.
Of being able to do an effective outreach because they're disconnected from small business, even though they're supposed to promote it.
I know, it's really frustrating.
Well, we also had an opportunity to talk with your friend who's in the nursing program.
Yeah, right.
We bounced back and forth, known Susie for years, and it's like, oh yeah, you should probably have us come in and talk about insurance. And that was we had a good conversation. Like, oh yeah, that'd be perfect, that'd be brilliant. Because their nurses, when they become nurses, have so much interaction on how insurance works.
And they're asked, it's like, okay, what do we do? How does this work? What do I do? How much am I going to pay for this? How much is this test going to cost me? Well, it's not their job to know that.
No.
But if they've got resources and a basic idea of how it works, they can be a resource for their client, for their patients, and then refer them to a resource for insurance if it comes to that. But if they understand how it works, because what I run into pretty regularly is, oh, if you've got Medicare, you're fine. Well, that's great, but there's how many different variants of Medicare?
Oh yeah, it's why I had a teacher talk to a teacher.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, I got our state program. It's wonderful, and I'm like, okay, well, you need to start advocating now, because when you retire, there's one office hundreds of miles away to get your questions answered.
And she didn't know that.
I owe them be able to, either A, have a small remote office that's in Eastern Washington, hundreds of miles away, that's able to answer these questions, or B, subcontract out so that people have customer service.
Yeah, they're offering this. You've said it before. They are the largest insurer in Washington State.
Largest purchaser of insurance in Washington State.
Right, and they're not. Their idea of customer service is go to the website.
Yes. And you can't email in something often. Sometimes it's a web tool. And if you've got folks that are not very computer friendly, it's an obstacle for them getting care.
Very much so. Very much so.
So that's the corporates that we need to, look at and putting an individual in. So yeah, I've been telling people, hey, go to your legislators.
Yeah, because they're the ones that decide what.
They can turn around at any time a good policy. And so, yeah, that structure would look entirely different in the hands of small business.
Yeah, it absolutely would.
So small business is more than an incidental tool. It is the foundation of community. Tuesday, we saw kind of a big shot at the budget from the feds
Kind of, definitely.
that is going to impact small business.
Oh,
Because a lot of us, where we get our health insurance is the ACA, and a lot of our kids, because of the Children's Health Insurance Program, CHIP
yeah,
insurance.
right.
Well, one of the big budget cuts is that CHIP program, is that Medicaid program.
Oh yeah, they're slashing Medicaid like crazy, and Medicare, but they're slashing Medicaid, and it's going to impact millions of people.
And this is, that health insurance component,
Mhm.
because of what the previous administration did
Mhm.
with it was the Inflation Reduction Act and the American Rescue Plan Act with the enhanced tax credits, created a small business boom.
Yes, because people could afford to quit their corporate jobs. They could have health insurance that was not tied to corporate America.
It wasn't tied to their job.
It wasn't tied to their job.
And I looked across. People have had me look at what's the public option that Washington State's working on.
Yeah.
And one of it is, again, tied to the jobs. They tie it in with payroll, and it is established, and it's like,
but that does not help small business owners.
No, it becomes this. It's like, guys, you're still thinking those traditional thoughts of it's got to be tied to a job.
Yeah.
So I inevitably went on the lovely Reddit machine. I love that machine. And asked the question, okay, well, what if someone doesn't have pay?
The 62-year-old retirees.
What if they're an I-10?
There you go.
Because they're not tied to a social security number.
That's right.
So
there's a lot of what-abouts in that one.
There is a lot of, because there's a lot of assumptions that everything's done in a large business setting through payroll.
Yeah. There's an assumption that everybody works for somebody else.
And one of the reports over the last open enrollment, the individual plans, there's more people enrolled in them than the small business groups.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing. If you're a small business and you've got employees, that's not this public option sounds like it would probably be disastrous for them.
It's hard to say which direction it's going to go. I looked at it. There's some serious flaws in it.
Yeah.
Because one, it goes for a fee for service, which is a failed California model that us rural people have difficulties in, because you just can't pump enough people through a hospital.
No.
And that also kind of promotes that, oh, hey, the doctor sees you for 5 minutes, you get handled by about 4 or 5 technicians, and it's just this rush of the financial machine.
Of course, you also run into the same problem with HMOs.
The managed care model,
yeah,
which is, for example, our enhanced Medicaid system, adopted, you select your doctor, and they actually get a portion of that income to their hospital, which keeps them afloat. The managed.
Well, maybe it's the hospital that's pushing the whole rush people through thing. I don't know how that works.
Well, they're trying to get as many people as possible. With the managed care model, they get paid the money regardless.
Yeah.
So,
but the more people are enrolled with their HMOs, the more money they make.
Correct. So they have to do more outreach, and they have to make the services nicer, so people will want to use them instead of using a PPO.
Yeah.
It's a different mindset, and we're really working on mindsets to get to that individualized care. It's push to have big projects.
Uh-huh.
Your power plant that would light up 10,000 homes.
Yeah.
The problem is that one power plant fails, you have 10,000 homes. That big power plant with 10,000 homes, they'd have 10 power plants.
You have, if something went down, you still, most 90% of the people would still have coverage.
Correct. So you start to fracture that large concept, that concept.
Isn't that a deregulation situation?
It's not necessarily a deregulation because those 10 power plants would still have to have regulations.
Okay.
You limit the size.
It's an there you go.
And you can have different models running those 10 different ones that are different. Some could be public owned, some could be privately owned.
No.
But they all have standards they adhere to.
Yeah. Sounds like Medicare to me.
So yeah, it's a different thought process.
Yeah.
It's instead of looking at one big monster overreaching, that if it goes, that A, pushes its weight around,
Uh-huh.
B, if it goes wrong, it impacts more people. You don't have an option.
Our part is I have a problem monolithic situations like that. When you silo an entire industry and it becomes a monolith, we know how we've seen what happens. We saw what happened with, I'm old enough to remember when the phone system was basically Ma Bell.
Yeah.
And the price, if calling long distance was a major investment.
Mm-hmm.
And then they broke up that monopoly.
Well, we also went through, we had we had Alcoa.
That's true.
And when Alcoa shuttered its doors, it hit this town like an economic sledgehammer.
It did.
And that's why that's when I really started, noticing, okay, well, it's great that we had this one big employer. We should be focused on having the 10 small employers.
Now we have another giant employer in the valley.
Which
Confluence.
One? Confluence?
Yeah.
Confluence has always been here.
Yes, but it's never been as big as it is.
Correct.
It is the largest employer in the valley. It is the largest landowner in the valley.
Well, it's profit, so it doesn't pay the taxes.
Right. So they've got a lot of land and they're not paying any property taxes towards it.
Yeah, and then we also have a large portion that is also owned by the feds.
Correct.
Because of the whole federal payment thing.
Yes.
Because they do pay for those reimbursements and do pay for those employees. And with the whole program going on, that's going to put that in compromise.
Yes.
So yeah, instead of this, hey, let's do this lift and shift on the 28th, not spend anything here. It's like, continue to focus on your small businesses.
Yeah. And make it a habit to shop small if you can, as much as you can.
It can't be just a special treat.
Nope.
We've been running a small business for 14 years.
14, 15 years. Yeah, we're going to have to figure out when exactly.
Yeah. Insurance people, small businesses.
We are. And so is your dentist. So is your chiropractor. So is your physical therapist a lot of the time. So is your house cleaner. Mm-hmm. These are small business owners.
Yeah. And when we talk, because we had a new insurance carrier come in, and there's been some, my chiropractor's not connected, or, they don't take, this pharmacy. And it's like, okay, these are small businesses. Mm-hmm. The back end has got to be able to successfully tie in with those small businesses
Uh-huh.
so that there is meat on the bone.
Yeah, they've got to be able to pay their people just like big corporations need to pay their people.
Oh yeah, and probably more so.
Mhm.
We've seen a couple of the big companies do that, and they'll switch their payment system
Yeah.
to another company, and will price out those subsections of the chiropractors and massages
Yeah.
because it takes them longer to do billing.
Yes, we've seen that a couple of times where they basically they stretch out and make the billing process so complicated they basically edge them out.
Yeah. So that's one of those things that as a small business you want to adhere to, is you want to make people be able to do business easier with you.
Mm-hmm.
And if they leave you, you let them go.
Yeah.
I've had more than one person walk away saying, I'm going to go over here. Cool. Absolutely. We'll still be here. And usually within a year or two, they come back.
Yeah.
And the reason why they come back is because we adhere to a model that everyone deserves dignity and respect.
Yep.
We're absolutely, if someone works more, knows more about this stuff, and treats it, and they connect better, absolutely go with that person.
Yeah. If you connect better with that other person, you go for it. You just get what, we're here to make sure that our clients get what they need.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not getting it from us, then you go somewhere that can give you what you need.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay.
Yeah. And last Friday was a good example of us going and exploring small business with Rafa. Yeah. Rafa runs La Pera Radio here in actually Eastern Washington, but it's an internet radio. He's got 3 different stations on there.
Uh-huh.
And it was a small business meeting, a small business gathering from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Yep.
It's going to be 10 a.m.
10 a.m. About 50 miles from here.
Yeah. So we got up and we went, and it was a small grocery chain.
Yeah.
It was their they recently purchased this grocery store in Othello.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me, Ephrata.
We were in Ephrata. They also have one in Othello and one in Moses Lake.
Yes. So it's a very small grocery chain that does different things because it's a Hispanic focused market. Mm-hmm. And we've been kind of immersed in that adjacent to that culture for a long time. Yeah. And it was the first time that you found pan that you liked.
Oh yeah, it was pan dulce, and it's like, okay, this is what this stuff's supposed to taste like. It was delicious. You should definitely try it out. But yeah, that's a really good example of stretch your boundaries a little bit. Go visit new businesses, small businesses, mm-hmm. Support them.
Yeah, and there was about we met about 4 or 5 different businesses and agencies while we were there. Yeah, and we also stopped in with another insurance agency. Yep. So we had a kind of a field trip Friday.
We did, and it was fun.
And that's important to do is to go out and explore what small businesses are doing. We talked with an accountant. It's like they didn't know that yes, we can produce 1095s on a rather fast basis.
Yeah, so you can help file your taxes.
And that was just that quick conversation. Unfortunately, I won't be able to help the barber because, I've got my head shaved, and my beard guy, I only let one person touch my beard.
That's right.
Other than me.
Which reminds me, you probably should make an appointment.
Yeah. So I will continue to do small business.
Yeah, support your local businesses.
And
whether it is boycott day or any day during the year, support your local businesses.
Because the more you support small businesses, the less boycotts you're going to have to do.
There you go.
All right, so this is Suzilla. We are out for this week. You have a good one.
Talk to you in March.
Yes, talk to you next month.
Bye.